Man, I'm bored. If only there was some way to make video gaming exciting again.
Hey kid, are you tired of playing the same old crusty PlayStation 2?
Ugh, gross!
Listen up, because we've got the brand new limited edition gold PlayStation 2.
Whoa, does it have better graphics?
Nope.
Does it have better games? Then why would I buy it?
Because if you don't, I'll tell all your friends about that secret copy of My Little Pony you've been playing.
No, please don't!
It's me, Mario.
The holidays are more amazing when you are the controller. Buy the Connect Holiday Bundle.
No! God, please, no! No!
Special edition consoles. What's not to love about them? Special edition video game consoles are customized versions of popular gaming consoles that are typically released in limited quantities for a specific event, anniversary, and/or promotional campaign. These consoles often feature unique designs, color schemes, and special features and noises that make them different from regular standard models. A lot of these special edition consoles are highly sought after by collectors and fans of the franchise, and can command a high price in the secondary market. The rise of special edition consoles dates back pretty much to the 90s, when the Gameboy started releasing different colors in their Play It Loud series, released in 1995. And in today's episode of Nostalgia Road, I'm going to go over my top 7 favorite special edition consoles. Now, the ones I will go over today will be ones that were sold to the public. And on top of that, I won't go over the same system twice. So without further ado, let's just jump into the countdown.
Number 7 then.
Woohoo! Starting off the countdown, we have the PS4. The PS4 was hard for me to choose because there's a lot of special edition ones that came out that were amazing. From the Uncharted console all the way to the Spider-Man console. Sony had released a lot of special edition consoles this generation, and pretty much every single one was knocked right out of the park. But there was one special edition that really caught my eye, and that's the 20th Anniversary PS4. Around only 12,000 of these consoles were produced worldwide to commemorate the fans that have supported Sony over the last 20 years. Matching its great-grandfather in the same original gray that the PS1 came in, it also had the same matching color on the controller as well as the matching buttons that the PS1 had. And if you were looking to buy one now, I wouldn't hold your breath. These go used for around $1,000 and up on eBay alone. Even the controller goes for around $70 to $100 used.
Number 6. Gotta go fast.
Coming in at number 6 is the first handheld on the list, and that is the NES Game Boy Advance. Released alongside the classic NES series on the Game Boy Advance, the NES Game Boy Advance SP looked just like its counterpart from the 80s. When it was closed, it looked just like the Nintendo Entertainment System from the 80s, and when you were playing with it when it was open, it looked just like an NES controller. And like I mentioned before, it released alongside classic NES games such as Zelda, Mario, Zelda 2, Excitebike, Metroid. And for back then, that was pretty exciting to play all these old games on the go. In Japan at the same time, you had the Famicom version release, which also had the same Famicom games going alongside it. Unfortunately, it didn't have the brighter screen that the SPs would later have. It was still a fun way to show off your love for the original entertainment system back in the 80s. The system that started it all for most of us. Depending on the day in the market, you can usually find one of these on eBay secondhand for around $100 to even $180 with a new screen installed.
Number 5. Now it's time to go back to testing.
With number 5, let's switch it up and go over to the United States for consoles, and let's look at the Xbox, specifically the Xbox One. Now, the Xbox One had a really rough start coming out of the gate, and rightfully so. But when I think of Xbox One limited edition consoles, the VCR box doesn't really have a lot of good ones that come to mind. It wasn't until the console's second half of its lifespan where we saw the release of the One S and One X. And then we started to get some really cool creative consoles from Xbox. But for me, my 5th favorite console of all time comes from Cyberpunk. Releasing a few months before the release of the game because the game got delayed again, which in all honesty it should have been delayed further, but that's a different story for a different time. This Xbox One X showed off a futuristic look for the console, which matched the aesthetics of the Cyberpunk world. But my favorite part about this console is the controller itself. The controller is split in half, like half human, half machine. And my favorite part about this controller is the fact on the right side, just underneath the buttons, no future is carved into the side of it. This console secondhand still goes for around $300 to $400 depending on the day.
Number 4. I'll torch him.
Now, this one's a bit different than the other ones. This one was available to buy, but you need to have enough points to be able to buy it. Released in 2004, this variation comes from Mtn Dew, of all places. This original Xbox console comes in a lime green Mountain Dew color. The same Mountain Dew lime green color that we've grown to know and love today. Now to score this Mountain Dew Xbox, you had to not only buy it, but before that you had to unlock 550 Mountain Dew points to be able to earn access to buy it. Now how do you unlock that many points? Well, by drinking Mountain Dew. Now I'm not sure how much Mountain Dew you have to drink to unlock that many points, but I have a feeling it was a lot. And thankfully, I wasn't allowed to drink Mountain Dew as a kid, so I dodged a bullet there. Now there aren't that many of these consoles in the wild. Some say there's over 5,000, some say there's as little as 1,000, so it's hard to say. Getting one of these on eBay can go for around $500, but given the low number of these produced, that's not that bad of a price. The 3DS and 2DS family has a lot of special edition variants. Given Nintendo's track history of special edition handhelds, it makes a lot of sense. I think my favorite to come out of the 3DS family is actually a 2DS, and that's the Hylian Shield 2DS. Just the idea of having the shield on the system itself is cool, but the fact that it's indented on the front and actually looks like the 3D version of the shield is fantastic. It was a Link Between the Worlds special edition. It was the new and improved 2DS versus the original, so it had more features like being able to play Super Nintendo games. Which, let's be honest, I'm pretty sure the original 3DS and 2DSs could have played Super Nintendo games, but well, I guess I can't talk about that. Anyways, this system secondhand goes for around $500 and up, depending on the condition and what comes with it. And unfortunately for that price, I'll just stick with my 3DS.
Number 2, also Dylan, would you please stop ripping off my video?
Now going into number 2, we're going back to the Xbox family of consoles, and covering the only one we pretty much haven't gone over. Xbox 360 started out pretty strong, but it wasn't until the next update of the Xbox 360 came out in the Slim where we saw special editions take a whole new meaning. And the cool thing about the limited edition Slim models is every time you would turn it on and off, or open the disc tray, it would make a special noise to go along with that said special console. But by far my favorite out of all of these is the Star Wars Edition console. Being the Star Wars fan that I am, I had to have this console, and thankfully I do. From the R2-D2 console look and the noises that it makes as R2-D2, all the way to the C-3PO custom controller.
Use the Force, Luke.
Thanks, whoever you are. To me, this is by far one of my favorite custom consoles, minus the fact that it came with Star Wars Connect, which is something we also don't talk about. And you can find these, compared to the other ones we've looked at today, relatively cheap. You can find them used on eBay from anywhere between $100 to $200, which is another reason why it makes it a must-have for Star Wars and Xbox fans. Just maybe throw Star Wars Connect in the trash.
Number 1, my body is ready.
The moment you've all been waiting for. My favorite console of all time. One of my favorite consoles of all time is the N64. And being as how that is my favorite console of all time, my favorite game of all time being Zelda Ocarina of Time, you can take a pretty good guess that I even have the gold cart for Ocarina of Time. And you're right, I do. But there's just something about the gold cart sitting in a regular black N64 that just doesn't look right. So when Nintendo came out with the gold N64 exclusive in the States to Toys R Us, you bet your ass I had to have it.
I love gold!
Thankfully, my mom was huge into Zelda. I can remember it clear as day going in to buy said gold console with her. It even came with a second gold controller, so you didn't have to play with the gray one anymore. And that right there is where my love for gold consoles was born. You can buy a gold one for around $100 to $200 depending on the region that you're looking for. And if I had an infinite amount of money, there was a gold variation of every system out there, you bet your ass I would have it. Man, do I love gold consoles. If only there was a way I could buy more of it.
75 years later.
Man, after all these years, I finally did it. My lifelong goal of having every gold thing you could imagine in video games. It didn't take that much. I spent my entire life savings, mortgage, and left kidney to make this dream come true. This is fantastic. It's crazy too. Some guy named Joey on TikTok had this amazing deal on everything I bought. He even guaranteed they were all refurbished, like new. Oh boy, let's boot one up. Son of a bitch!